There were lots of ideas for some dupes and some fakes. Then suddenly there appeared these snow cream cupcakes. And here they are, my beautiful snow cream cupcakes. They have beautiful saturated colors. They sparkle with sugar on top. And you know what? I'll bet they're tasty too. For today's project, I'm going to be using the Sterilite colander from the dollar store, as well as this little wire basket, also from the dollar store. I made a pattern of the outside of the basket, like so, and I have traced it onto the back of some silver poster board. And this is going to serve as the face that I'm going to glue on the outside of the basket. That'll give it a silver metallic appearance all the way around the little basket to make it look more like it's a foil cupcake tin. I've also made a tracing of the bottom of my little basket so that I can cover the bottom as well. I'm going to be covering the outside with this silver ribbon, which is pleated and really has the texture of a cupcake. I love it. I got this on a roll at Big Lots. What I did was I covered that around my basket and measured approximately how much I needed, and I just cut that straight off. Now you can see it's slightly gathered here in the middle, which is meant to give it the ability to do this and swirl if you're using it on a tree, but I didn't want that to be the case. So what I did was I popped that thread, and then I will go back through and I'll actually remove all of the thread so that the thread is no longer on the ribbon. I'm just pulling that out. Then what I did was I pinned them together and I sewed a straight stitch along one edge just like that. Now I turn it inside out and it's going to fit right over my basket. But first what I'm going to do is cover it with my silver poster board. And here's the reason why. You can see this one, it's really wrapped really nicely, but it's still pretty transparent or translucent. And although I love the quality of the ribbon, and I think it might be fun if light did shine through from lights on the Christmas tree, but you're gonna see that grid underneath, that sort of honeycomb grid of the basket, which ultimately I decided I didn't want. To prevent that from happening, I'm just gonna go ahead and make sure that the basket itself is opaque, and I'm going to glue this around the side of the basket, and I'm also going to glue a bottom on so that the whole thing doesn't let light through, and then I'll cover it in the ribbon. Comment below, what would you use as a cupcake tin? There we go. So that's pretty good. It's pretty good coverage. I'm ready to slip on my ribbon. I'm gonna do this side. And that's gonna be a pretty nice, snug fit. And I'm gonna try and get this to sort of come over that top edge a little bit so that we're sure that the entire basket is covered. And I'm gonna go ahead and run some glue just to try and secure that. Be careful, this will be a really good way to burn yourself because you're running that on a sheer fabric, which of course the glue's really prone to slipping through. So I'm just gonna pull that down so that the edges meet up nicely, just making sure that I do have some glue to hold it down. Here on the bottom, what I wanna do now is this is a monofilament edge which gives it that curl. So you might be able to see the little monofilament thread that comes out of both ends. Now watch this. This is fun. I'm just gonna go ahead and pull that in, and that curves around the bottom, which gives me a really nice clean finish. And I'm going to run a bead of glue all the way around, just making sure that once I pull this tight, I have something for it to stick to and hold. Now remember, this is a organza ribbon, so that glue will seep through. So just mind your fingers. And once that is glued down, we're pretty much good to go. And I think steaming that, if I want to go ahead and do that, will get rid of the rest of that seam, but it's not terribly noticeable. There is a little pucker here on the side where that seam is. So you could glue this around the edge. I just think it's so much easier in a few seconds to sit at the sewing machine, and in a couple of minutes, you've got all of your little baskets done. And I have this colander from Dollar Tree. I bought enough of them to do all 6 of my cupcakes, so I bought 6 of them. And the first thing I'm going to do is snip off the top part, just like this. So I have my topper, and just this little part, these 2 rows in the colander fit really nicely on top of my little cupcake basket, and that gives us the perfect silhouette. I need to drill the hole through the center, and what this does is it allows me to insert my cherry, which is a red ornament, through the center. I've also drilled a hole through the other end of the cherry because I'll be putting my tie through the cherry, which will look like the cherry stem. And while I'm at it, I decided that I was going to go ahead and cut off these little legs that are on the back side of the colander. I'm using this beautiful sort of golden colored cord. It's a golden brown, which to me really takes on the look of a cherry stem. And I'm gonna be using this for all of the cherries that will be hanging my snow cream cones and my snow cream cupcakes. So I've cut a piece that is 12 inches long, and I'm using a super huge needle with a gigantic eye. I think it's a leather needle. I'm not even really that sure. I'm going to insert that through the hole I've drilled on what will be the top of my cherry and pull that through where the little ornament hanger was. There we go. Now, I want to make sure that I don't pull this all the way through while I'm tying this knot. So careful, careful, careful. There, pretty tight. So now I've got a knot that's holding my cherry on. Looks just like a stem, at least it does to me. And the next step is to push the cherry through my topper. Takes a little bit of pressure, but I want it to be tight. Now I'll be ready to glue this onto my little cupcake tin and run a bead of glue all the way around the edge. I'm just smoothing this around a bit. There it is. It's glued on. So that's exactly how my cupcake is going to function. This is a really pretty bright green. Looks like it would glow in the dark or activate with black light, but it doesn't because I used it on some Halloween projects thinking it would, and it doesn't. I'm gonna start with a bead right along the line of where my topper meets my little cup. That'll help glue these pieces together. A little bit more. It's a reinforcement. Make sure I'm pressing that down because I want to bridge the gap between my topper and the tin. I'm running this bead of glue really close to the yarn that I've already glued down so that I can press this yarn, the next row, down onto the previous row to make sure I'm covering up white spots on my topper. Pop that back in. And look, a giant cupcake that is good enough to eat. The final step in decorating my cupcake is to sugar it. I have used my trusty spray adhesive and sprayed some on the top of my cupcake. All I need to do now is add my iridescent glitter snowflake. I think I got this at the hobby store. So I'm gonna sprinkle that generously, mostly on the center top. And while my adhesive is still pretty aggressively tacky, I'm going to pat it down. Isn't that a nice finish, a nice touch, if you can read the sparkle? Lastly, I'm going to reinsert my cherry. There it is. I heard it snap. It is in, and I have my first completely finished cupcake. I think it's absolutely perfect and absolutely delicious. And here they are, my beautiful snow cream cupcakes. They have beautiful saturated colors. They sparkle with sugar on top. And you know what? I'll bet they're tasty too. Let's get them on the tree. This is Rick at Art Collection. Have a Merry Christmas and happy eating. Be sure and check out my next video, Snow Cream Cones.